when we arrived, it seems like they were already they were on lookout for us. Because when I arrived and I was talking to the immigration officer, a supervisor came booth to booth, checking and whispering, like, don't forget to get the Korean American or American Korean who's passing by name, and then they said my name. So my paper was handed to him, and then I had to follow him to the investigation room. And then, I saw Hyun followed also. So after the routine questioning, they told us that, we were blocked entry into Korea.
That a central agency
Right.
had put a block on
Yeah.
our entry. And at some point, the immigration officer brought out two pieces of paper, one for each of us to sign. And apparently, this was supposed to explain to us why we were being denied. And all it said was pursuant to Articles 11 and 12 of the South Korean Immigration Control Act. And so we asked, we said, this means nothing to us. We cannot sign this piece of paper because it doesn't explain why we are being denied entry. So then that's when he went and brought out this very, very thick manual with all of the different immigration, articles. And they pointed to Article 11, which basically said, one of the clauses said, uh, uh, they have the authority to deny entry to people who are likely to act in a way that is detrimental to the national interest and public safety of South Korea. We do know now whose list this is because later on we went to the Korean Airlines ticket counter and said, they want to put us back on the next flight out to Hawaii. But we have two colleagues who are coming to South Korea for a peace tour, and we want to see them before we're deported out. So, is it possible to extend our stay in the transfer area of the airport so that we can meet with them, and then after that, you can send us out.
Yeah, we can. We asked actually to change the flight later on.
What we were told by the Korean Airlines ticket agent is there is a block on your entry and an order for deportation from the National Intelligence Service. And so because of that, there is nothing we can do. So our speculation for why we were denied entry, I mean, the only thing we can think of, obviously, is because the THAAD deployment issue, the recent decision by the U.S. and South Korean governments to deploy the THAAD missile defense system in Korea, this is a hot-button issue. The South Korean government continuously sends representatives to Seongju to negotiate with the residents. They keep being turned away by the residents. The residents, 90% of whom had voted for Park Geun-hye and are members of the conservative Saenuri Party, they're all leaving the party now. Obviously, China and Russia are so upset by this decision, and they've made it very clear that this is a very provocative act against them. So, and our objective, one of the objectives of our trip, was to join with the peace movement in Korea, meet up with Veterans for Peace members in Korea to show our solidarity from the United States that we too are opposed to this decision. And I think the government sees this clearly as a threat, that they don't want to internationalize this struggle of opposition against the THAAD issue. That is the only reason that we can think of for why we were denied entry.
So I think, we will be continuing and doubling or tripling our efforts to build a stronger international solidarity. This shows how powerful the international solidarity can be to the actually the administration itself. Creating a voices, making connections to country to country, and knowing that there is a solid peace movement in U.S. and then in Korea, and connecting can really build.
I think it's important for us to remember that even though the fight against that is happening in South Korea, this is ultimately a U.S. decision. This is part of a U.S. drive to encircle Russia and China with an entire network of missile defense systems. This is part of the Obama administration's so-called pivot to Asia. And ultimately, that deployment is in the interest not of the South Korean people, but it's for U.S. military interests. They've already said, even the U.S. Congressional Research Service said, THAAD is ineffective in the defense of South Korean people. THAAD is really about U.S. interests in containing China's military capability. It's about protecting U.S. bases in Guam and Okinawa against the North Korean missile threat. That is not at all about the defense of South Korea. It's about U.S. military interests. So our task then will be to go back to the United States and make sure that the broader peace movement and the broader public in the United States knows about this decision. What is that? Most people don't even know really what is the purpose of missile defense. I think there needs to be a lot of political education, and we're going to really redouble our efforts to build solidarity. Our demand is for the U.S. and South Korean governments to reverse this decision. And ultimately, the THAAD system is not in the interest of the U.S. public either. I mean, it's our tax dollars that is going to pay for this very, very expensive $1.3 billion weapon system that ultimately the people of South Korea don't want, and that we could be doing a lot better things with.
As the repression gets stronger, that's also, we have to think of it as a proof that what we are doing is actually making an impact. A lot of people sent us an encouragement, and we are really grateful for that. Is that now you are actually doing something that they are recognizing, as much as they are recognizing that you are making an impact and dent in their propaganda. So I hope that our case will not discourage anyone who's doing this work and traveling back and forth with the U.S. and South Korea. And not to fear, but boldly to go, only forward.